Coming up on this episode of Design to the Nines, I'm going to be knocking off this Pottery Barn pumpkin patch sign, and I'm going to be doing it for a tiny fraction of the cost. If that sounds good to you, stay tuned. Welcome to Design to the Nines. I'm Natalie Callahan, and if this is the first time we're meeting, welcome to my channel. If you enjoy videos about DIY and home decor, then you are in the right place, and I would invite you to consider subscribing to my channel below and turning the notifications on, because I bring you weekly tutorials on these topics and I'd hate for you to miss a thing. And hitting that bell notification this month is extra important because of several collaborations I am participating in. Today's episode is a part of DIY Mommy's Fall DIY and Decor Challenge, and I love her channel. So after you're done watching this episode, if you haven't already, pop on over to her channel, check it out. In this episode, I'm going to be showing you how I knocked off the Pottery Barn pumpkin patch sign that was featured in my fall front porch video. If you haven't seen that episode, I'm going to put a link below as well as up above, and definitely check that out. I believe that I can do this for under $3. Under $3. $3. A $3 price tag is a huge improvement, and I'm going to show you how you can do it as well. And on top of it, I'm going to be doing it two different ways. One way that I think is going to be more authentic and a closer match to the original, and then the other way I believe will be a little bit more user-friendly, aka a little bit easier to do. The first thing I needed to do was figure out how to do this pumpkin patch design, because it was pretty intricate. Lots of different methods that I went through. What I did is I actually designed a printable. I think this printable is an extremely close match to the Pottery Barn version. Stick with me to the very end because I'm going to tell you where you can get this printable for free. Yes, I'm going to give it away to you for free. I've got you covered. So that will be a little perk that you can get, and I'll tell you how to get it at the end of the episode. So I'll be using this for option 2, which I'll explain a little bit later. But I think the way that we're going to get the most authentic looking result is doing an image transfer. I could be wrong, it might not work out, but if all goes according to plan, I really believe this will be the more authentic look. So what I had to do for that is actually do a reverse image of the original printable. I will give you access to both versions and tell you how to do this as we go along. So stick with me, hang on, and I will explain how to do everything. I am starting out with some free scrap wood that I had left over from my outdoor bench that I built. So this is free to me. It is totally possible to get free plywood. If you don't know someone who has a pile of scrap wood, you could hit up a construction site and pick through their dumpster. You could dumpster dive, but I'm not going to tell you whether to do that or not do that. That'll be up to you. But if that makes you a little uncomfortable, you can definitely hop on to Facebook Marketplace. A lot of free scrap wood that people are willing to just give away for free, and you could take a couple of pieces and save them for future projects that we may be doing or that you might have that you want to do. Worst case scenario, you do have to buy a small piece of plywood, which shouldn't cost you very much if you're buying it in a small quantity. The original dimensions of the Pottery Barn version were 13 inches by 17 inches. Mine's going to be 14 by 18. My plywood was already 14 inches wide, so I just decided to make it an inch wider in both directions just for ease. The first thing that I'm going to do is paint my wood. It's just to create a nice base for this to go onto. So I'm just using some chalk paint because I kind of want it to have a flat matte finish. To speed up the painting process, I just go ahead and dump the chalk paint right on the board and spread it out with my brush. Simple as that. Our white chalk paint is dried, and now we are ready to proceed with the next step. So I have this Liquitex product. It's a gel medium in matte, and this is left over from my monogrammed Lazy Susan tutorial. If you haven't seen that one, I will put it up above as well as below. This is a gel medium that helps you transfer images. There are some other image transferring mediums out there. I prefer this Liquitex product. I've tried some of the other ones. This one seems to get the best result. So what we're going to do is very carefully just brush it on, somewhat generously onto this wood, And then we are going to take our image and now lay it flat down and rub it onto the gel medium. And then we are going to let it sit for at least 2 hours for the image to really transfer well and fully dry. Now it's time to remove the image transfer. I am expecting this part to be pretty tedious. I'm going to start up top and we're going to wet the paper. And then I also have a bowl of water in case we need it. I've got a rag, and we are gently going to start rubbing away the paper, and hopefully it will reveal our image. You want to make sure you rub hard enough that the paper comes off, but not so hard that the image also comes off. So we just got to apply the right pressure. We are done with the image transfer portion of the project, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. You will see some like scratching from when we removed the paper, but that's actually perfect because there was also those streaks in the original one. So my pumpkin ends up being a little bit oranger than the original. I oversaturated the image on purpose because I believed that it would lighten up a little bit more than it did in the transfer process, but that's okay because I'm really happy with this color. I actually like it a little bit better than the original, which was a little bit more tan or yellowy, and this one's a little bit more orangey, which will fit in my decor even better. And then I went ahead and took some matte Mod Podge because this is going to be outside, and I did a coat of that over the top of it just as an added protection. If you stick with me till the very end, I'm going to tell you how one of you can get this sign for free, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so now it's time to do option 2. Honestly, this is going to be super easy. All we're going to do is take matte Mod Podge and put some matte Mod Podge on the back, stick it to our piece of wood, and then do a protective layer of matte Mod Podge over the top and let that dry. The Mod Podge on our option 2 has dried. It looks great. It actually settled way down a lot of that puckering and bubbling, flattened out as it dried. There's a little bit towards the edges and the bottom, but actually that's going to be covered up by our frame, which we are going to do right now. So how we're going to go about doing this is we are going to first get it out of the package. Done that before. Okay, so we're going to take our paint sticks. We're going to line it up with the edges, and we're going to start with the top and bottom piece first. Again, we're not mitering these ones because the sticks are not long enough. If you want a more accurate look, go ahead and get some strapping or some kind of flat molding and do the miter edge. But since these are not long enough, we're not going to do it that way. So we're going to put it underneath, and then we're going to just trace it. And that gives us our cut mark. If you don't have a power saw, they sell these $1 hacksaws at the Dollar Tree, and just very carefully make that cut. And there's our arm workout for the day. Just kidding. Actually, that did a pretty nice cut. You may want to take a sanding sponge and just kind of gently sand off any rough spots on the edge. It fits perfect. We'll just do it all the way around. Now it's time to stain our frame. So I debated many different ways of how to get that old aged barn weathered look and feel. I have put together like a watered down mixture, a warm gray, and then I put some dark gray in it, and then I also put in a little bit of brown. But I'm pulling out my bottomless pit of trusty gel stain and Kona, and what I think I'm going to do first is kind of do like a very light dry brushing with the gel stain, and then go over the top of it with my watered down gray, and then hopefully the combination of the two will create like a nice depth and richness and still have that aged weathered feel that we really love. But before we dry brush anything, I'm going to take a metal bristled brush. You could probably find something similar at the Dollar Tree, and kind of run it with the grain of the wood. It's kind of running some grooves into the wood, And that will just kind of add to the effect of the barnwood, which always has kind of like a really rough texture. You could nail this on if you wanted to. I don't want to pull out my nail gun, and I think that this will be just fine. And so we'll do some E6000 and then a little hot glue for the instant stick, that instant gratification, but the E6000 holds up better over time. It's a much stronger stick. Okay, and then we're gonna just glue it down and make sure everything is even, and then just do it all the way around. If you plan on hanging it, measure down a couple inches on both sides and mark where you want to place screws. Then screw some short screws in about 3/4 of the way, then connect them by wrapping wire on them, and once you have done that, screw the screws in tighter, and that's it. You're done. All right, my Pottery Barn pumpkin patch sign is done, and I am thrilled with how it turned out. I honestly feel like this dupe might be one of my best yet, but you'll have to let me know in the comment section below. Also, let me know in the comment section below if you liked the Mod Podge version or the image transfer version. This one's a little bit easier to do. I think this one is a little bit closer matched to the original. So as far as how much each one of these signs cost me, to have them printed out at Staples was about 70 to 75 cents. And then of course the paint sticks, you're gonna need 4 of them. That's about $1.33. My plywood was free, and the stains and the paints I kind of already had on hand. So if we add in a little extra for all of the supplies that I had on hand, the Mod Podge version would probably come in about $2.50 to $3. This version came in about $3.50, maybe $4 if you include the gel transfer medium, the amount that we used anyways. So cheap. If you want a chance to win that buffalo check rug and your choice of either of these pumpkin patch signs, then let me know in the comment section below what is your favorite knockoff that I've done to date. Also, subscribe to my channel below. Don't forget to turn on the bell notifications. And don't forget, next week is my Girls Can Use Power Tools Challenge. It's being co-hosted by Jessica from Measure and Mix. I'm so excited to have her co-host with me on this awesome challenge. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If so, let me know by hitting the like button. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again real soon. The Amazon guy just came during this video. I think he was a little nervous to approach me because he didn't know what was going on. Poor guy. I love Amazon presents though, so you can interrupt me anytime, Amazon guy.